Imagine walking into work on May 14th, completely oblivious that a rare astrological event has basically built this massive, invisible fortress around your entire professional reputation. While everyone else is dealing with, petty office drama, rumors, and stress, you are completely shielded.
Yeah, you are totally untouchable. You're completely free to just run straight toward your biggest goals without anyone getting in your way.
It is such an incredible image. Welcome back to Horoscope TV. If you are a Virgo, stop whatever you are doing right now and listen up.
Absolutely, because this episode is exclusively for you.
We are looking at the week of May 11 to May 17th, 2026. This week is packed with amazing opportunities for learning new things, solving mysteries in your life, and experiencing a massive winning streak at work.
It really is. Things are going to move fast, and you need to know exactly how to handle this energy so you don't miss out on any of it.
We really do have a lot of ground to cover today.
We do. I am going to analyze the astrological charts for you. I will be looking really closely at planet locations, moon phases, and how they all physically and energetically interact with each other.
Right, because this is about giving you a complete step-by-step roadmap for your week. And it is all based on the actual movements happening up in the sky.
Exactly. I want to give you the exact tools you need.
So we are going to start with the big picture of your personal growth and how your mind is really expanding right now. Then we will look at how this totally new mindset bleeds over into your love life.
Because it completely changes the way you talk to the people closest to you.
It really does. After that, we detail those major career and money wins we mentioned. Plus, we will talk about protecting your health when you are running at lightning speed.
And finally, we will reveal exactly who will be your best teammate this week and who is going to drive you absolutely crazy.
Oh, I cannot wait for that part. So, looking at the astro data for this week, it seems incredibly active.
It is beyond active. We are seeing major shifts in how planets are talking to each other. And for Virgo, this creates a very clear story of a personal breakthrough.
Well, let's get right into that big picture then. The core theme for Virgo this week is opening your mind to new possibilities.
Yes, it is all about stepping outside of the usual routine.
Now, Virgos are famous for being detail-oriented, right? Like they look at the individual leaves on the trees, not necessarily the whole forest.
That is their superpower, usually.
Yeah.
But the charts are saying they're being pushed to look at the world from a much wider angle right now.
What is actually happening in the sky to cause that shift? Because that sounds like a big change for a Virgo.
Well, it starts on May 11. The sun, which is currently moving through the sign of Taurus, makes a very friendly angle to the planet Jupiter.
Okay, a friendly angle. What does that mean exactly?
In astrology, we call this a sextile. A sextile happens when two planets are exactly 60 degrees apart in the sky.
60 degrees. So how does that actually play out energetically?
Imagine them sitting at a table together. They aren't sitting directly across from each other because that can cause an argument.
Right, that would be too confrontational.
Exactly, and they aren't sitting right on top of each other either. They are sitting at just the right distance to have a great, really productive conversation.
I love that visual. So what are they talking about? What do the sun and Jupiter actually represent for someone listening right now?
So the sun represents your core identity. It is your ego, your basic life force. It is basically the center of who you are.
Okay, and Jupiter?
Jupiter is the planet of luck, growth, and expansion. Historically, astronomers and astrologers called Jupiter the greater benefic.
The greater benefic, meaning it brings the biggest blessings.
Yes, exactly. It makes everything it touches bigger and better. So when the sun, which is your core self, has a friendly conversation with Jupiter, you get this massive injection of hope.
Oh, wow. But how does a Virgo actually feel that on a random Tuesday? Does it just feel like a good mood, or is it more specific than that?
For a Virgo, it translates into a sudden, almost overwhelming desire to learn something completely outside of their normal routine.
Interesting. Because Virgo is an earth sign, right? They usually like practical things.
They do. But Taurus is also an earth sign. And because this connection happens in Taurus, this push to expand doesn't feel like a wild, reckless gamble.
It feels safe.
Right. It feels like a very grounded hunger for new knowledge. You might wake up on May 11, look at your perfectly organized desk, and suddenly feel like the daily grind is totally boring.
Like you just need something more.
Exactly. You will want to read a book on a subject you know absolutely nothing about, or maybe watch a documentary on ancient history, or just explore a completely foreign concept.
So it is not about throwing away their perfectly organized life. It is more like they have mastered their small garden, and now they want to know what is over the fence.
That is a brilliant way to put it. They are looking over the fence. And that feeling of restlessness, of wanting to see more, gets a major boost just a couple of days later.
Oh, what happens then?
On May 13th, the moon moves into the sign of Aries.
Now, the moon moves pretty fast, right? It changes signs every couple of days.
Yes, it does. The moon rules our passing moods, our feelings, and our inner emotional world. And Aries is the very first sign of the zodiac.
Which is a fire sign, if I remember right.
Pure fire energy. It is impulsive, it is fast, and it wants to take action right this very second. So when the moon moves into Aries on May 13, it basically strikes a match inside Virgo's emotional world.
Wait, hold on. If Virgo likes everything neat, careful, and planned out, isn't throwing a fiery Aries match into the mix going to make them feel really anxious?
You would think so.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for panic, not growth.
It would definitely be a recipe for panic if that Jupiter energy from earlier in the week wasn't there to support it.
Ah, so the Jupiter hope is like a buffer.
Precisely. Because you are already in this mindset of wanting to expand, this Aries moon doesn't cause fear. Instead, it creates a burning need to solve a deep mystery.
So they turn into a detective.
Completely. Aries energy doesn't want to just sit and wonder about things. It wants to hunt for the answer.
I see. So if there is a complex problem in their life,
Or even just a topic you have been lightly curious about, May 13th is the day you will dive headfirst into finding the truth. You just won't stop until you get to the bottom of it.
I can totally see that. A Virgo on a mission, fueled by fire. But after all that fast-paced hunting for answers, we hit May 16.
Yes, May 16th is a huge day.
The charts show a new moon in Taurus. Let's break down the physical reality of a new moon for the listener. What is actually happening up there?
During a new moon, the sun and the moon are at the exact same degree in the sky from our viewpoint here on Earth.
Right, they line up perfectly.
Because the sun is behind the moon, the side of the moon facing Earth gets no light at all. The night sky is completely dark.
And why is that darkness so important for someone's week? It sounds a bit spooky.
Well, think about how a seed grows. You don't plant a seed on top of the soil in the bright sunlight.
No, you have to bury it in the dirt.
Exactly. You bury it in the dark earth. A new moon is the astrological equivalent of burying a seed. It is a moment of starting over.
So it is about setting a new intention in the dark before it begins to grow and catch the light.
Yes. And because this new moon happens in Taurus, which is a highly stable, practical earth sign, the soil is incredibly fertile for a Virgo right now.
So if a Virgo's listening to this right now, how do they actually plant that seed on May 16th? Like, what is the practical action they need to take?
The astro data points to this day as the absolute best time to book long-distance travel or sign up for a new class.
Oh, that goes right back to that big picture theme from earlier.
It sure does. If you have been thinking about learning a new language, going back to school, or visiting a country you have never seen, May 16th is the day to put your money down and commit.
So don't just think about it anymore.
Right. Act on it. The intentions you set on this dark moon will grow into massive, mind-expanding experiences over the next 6 months.
Plant the seed on May 16. Got it. And then the week wraps up this whole big picture energy on May 17.
Yes, with a major planetary shift.
The notes say Mercury enters Gemini. I really want to dig into this because Mercury is Virgo's ruling planet, right?
Yes, Mercury is the boss of Virgo. In ancient times, Mercury was the messenger god. He had those winged sandals and he flew between the gods and the humans, delivering information.
So Mercury rules communication.
Yes, it rules how we think, how we process facts, and how we talk to other people.
But wait, I thought Mercury also ruled Gemini.
It does. Mercury rules 2 signs, Virgo and Gemini, but they use that energy completely differently.
How so?
Virgo uses Mercury to sort, organize, and perfect information. Think of Virgo like a librarian who takes a giant pile of books and perfectly categorizes them so they are useful.
That makes perfect sense for Virgo. What about Gemini?
Gemini, on the other hand, is an air sign. Gemini uses Mercury to gather, chat, and share.
So it is much more social.
Exactly. Think of Gemini as a butterfly flying from flower to flower, picking up pollen and spreading it everywhere.
Okay, so if Virgo's ruling planet moves out of a slow Earth sign and into fast, chatty Gemini on May 17th, how does that physically feel to the listener?
Your mind is going to start buzzing, like literally buzzing. You're going to feel very busy, but in a really social, outward way.
Because all week long, they have been taking in new ideas, solving those mysteries, and planting seeds for the future.
Right. And once May 17 hits, you're going to feel this overwhelming urge to share everything you just learned with the world.
So they might want to call their friends or write a really long post online.
Yes, or just talk someone's ear off about this cool new documentary they just watched. You won't be able to keep it to yourself.
It sounds like a really natural flow. Like you open your mind, you hunt for the deep truth, you commit to learning more, and then you share it.
It is a beautiful progression.
But, when you start talking differently and sharing more, it inevitably bleeds into how you deal with the people you love.
It absolutely does. You cannot separate the two.
Which brings us to your romantic life and your closest relationships this week.
You cannot have a massive shift in how your mind works without it completely changing how you connect with your partner.
So what are the charts showing for their love life?
The astrological charts show that your romantic life is taking a very deep, very healing turn this week.
Let's look at May 13. We just talked about Mercury, the planet of communication. On May 13, Mercury forms a sweet angle to Jupiter, the planet of hope and growth.
Right, and remember, Jupiter is that greater benefic we talked about.
So what happens when the messenger god sits down for a friendly chat with the planet of big dreams?
You get the perfect environment for honest, really healing conversations.
Because usually conversations in a relationship can get so bogged down in the daily chores, right?
Oh, constantly. Who is doing the dishes, paying the bills, managing the schedule? And Virgo is especially prone to focusing on those tiny practical details.
It's true, they love a good schedule.
But when Mercury connects with Jupiter, your vision lifts. You won't want to talk about the small stuff anymore. You will want to talk about shared hopes.
So this is the day to ask your partner, hey, where do we want to be in 5 years?
Exactly that. If you have a big dream you want to achieve together, or if you just want to clear the air and talk about your larger purpose as a couple, May 13th is the day to bring it up.
Will the partner be receptive to that?
Yes, the energy in the sky totally supports deep communication that doesn't trigger defensiveness. It actually heals the bond between you and brings you much, much closer.
And it seems like it gets even easier to talk the very next day on May 14th. The charts show the Sun and Mercury coming together in Taurus.
Yes. In astrology, when a planet gets extremely close to the sun, we call it a cazimi.
A cazimi.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really intense. What does it mean?
It is an old term that means in the heart of the sun. Usually, if a planet gets too close to the sun's glare, its power gets burned up or hidden.
Like flying too close to the sun.
Exactly. But when it is perfectly aligned, right in the center of the sun actually acts like a massive magnifying glass.
Oh, so it boosts the power instead of destroying it.
Right. It takes Mercury's power to communicate and amplifies it by 1,000.
Okay, but Virgos are famous for overthinking everything before they speak. They want to edit their words, find the perfect tone, and make sure they don't say anything messy.
That is very true.
If the sun is amplifying their communication, won't it also amplify their anxiety about saying the wrong thing?
It would, except for the fact that this is happening in Taurus.
Oh, right, the Earth sign.
Yes. Taurus is highly connected to the physical body and the five senses. It doesn't live in the brain, it lives in the body.
So it grounds that mental anxiety.
Exactly. When this cazimi happens in Taurus, it actually bypasses your inner editor completely. It makes it incredibly easy for you to express your true feelings without overthinking every single syllable.
I need a practical tip for our Virgo listener here.
Yeah.
If they are so used to, writing a mental script before they talk to their partner, how do they let go of that on May 14th?
The best tip is to focus entirely on the physical feeling in your body before you open your mouth.
Just tune into the physical sensations.
Right. If you are sitting with your partner and you feel a sudden wave of warmth in your chest, don't analyze it. Just say, I love you.
That is really beautiful.
If you feel a sense of relief that they are sitting right there, just say, thank you for being here. Drop the script.
Just trust the moment.
Trust that the planetary energy is completely clearing the path for your words to land perfectly. Just let the truth out.
Drop the script and speak from the body. That makes a lot of sense. But I am looking ahead to May 16th, and the energy changes drastically.
Yes, it really does.
This looks like a rough patch.
Yeah.
Mars meets Chiron in the sign of Aries. We really need to explain this one carefully.
We do, because this is undoubtedly the most intense day of the week for your emotional life.
So let's break it down. What is Mars doing here?
Mars is the planet of action, heat, defense, and conflict. It is the warrior planet.
Okay, so a lot of friction. And what about Chiron?
Chiron is very different.
Yeah.
In mythology, Chiron was a centaur who was known as a great teacher and healer, but he was accidentally shot by a poisoned arrow. And because he was immortal, he couldn't die. But the poison meant the wound would never heal.
So he just lived with it forever.
Yes, he lived in constant pain. but through his own suffering, he learned how to deeply heal others.
So Chiron represents the wounded healer, like our own deep, old emotional scars.
Yes, Chiron shows us where we feel insecure, where we have been hurt in the past, and where we carry old baggage.
Oh boy. So imagine what happens when Mars, the planet of heat and conflict, crashes directly into Chiron, the raw emotional wound.
And they do this in Aries, a fire sign.
That sounds incredibly painful. It sounds like someone taking a hot poker to an old scar. Why would the universe do that to someone's relationship?
I know it sounds awful. Let's use a physical therapy metaphor. Think about having a serious injury like tearing a muscle.
Okay.
Over time, it heals, but it forms thick, tight scar tissue. You lose your range of motion.
Right, you get all stiff.
Exactly. To actually get your flexibility back, a physical therapist has to press really hard into that scar tissue to break it up.
And that hurts terribly in the moment.
It feels like you are being injured all over again. You might even feel weaker the day after the therapy. But breaking up that hidden, tight knot is the absolute only way to restore your full range of motion.
Wow. Okay, so when Mars hits Chiron on May 16th, it is basically acting like the physical therapist breaking up the emotional scar tissue in the relationship.
That is exactly the mechanism at work. It might bring up hidden fears. You might suddenly feel terrified of being abandoned out of nowhere.
Or you might irrationally question if you can really trust your partner.
Yes, you might get triggered over something tiny, but you have to understand this is not a punishment. The universe is not trying to ruin your day.
It is forcing these old fears to the surface so you can finally break them down and heal them permanently.
Precisely. It is doing you a favor, even if it hurts.
So if a Virgo feels a sudden spike of jealousy or fear on May 16th, what should they do? Pick a fight.
Absolutely not. The worst thing you can do is let Mars turn that pain into a weapon against your partner.
So how do they handle it?
If you feel triggered, just take a deep breath. Say to your partner, I am feeling really insecure right now, and I know it is coming from my past, not from you.
Just name it.
Name it. Look at the wound. Talk about it. Facing it on this specific day means you are actively breaking down that scar tissue.
That takes a lot of maturity. And the reward for enduring that emotional physical therapy comes the very next day, right?
Yeah.
17?
Yes. On May 17th, Venus connects gently to Chiron.
And Venus is the planet of love, harmony, and beauty.
Right. So after the intense friction of Mars, Venus steps in like a soothing balm. It is literally the ice pack after the deep tissue massage.
The week ends with this incredibly soothing energy.
Because you did the hard work of facing your fears the day before, Venus makes you and your loved one feel totally safe and completely understood.
The air is cleared.
The air is cleared. You have your emotional range of motion back.
I just love seeing that kind of logical payoff in the charts. You do the hard work, you get the reward.
It is a beautiful cycle.
Now, building that kind of deep emotional safety at home is crucial because when your heart is secure behind closed doors, you have the raw confidence to step out and take major risks in public.
You really do.
Which brings us to your professional triumphs and building your wealth this week.
Emotional security is the bedrock of professional success. If you are worried about your home life, you just cannot perform at work.
That's so true. But since your home life is healing, your professional life is about to take off.
Let's look back at May 11, when the sun connects with lucky Jupiter.
We talked about this transit giving Virgo a hunger to learn new things. How does that same planetary angle play out in the office?
Well, Jupiter brings gifts. It brings expansion and good fortune. At work, this translates to wonderful news about a team project.
Oh, like a big win for the team.
Yes. You might get a massive boost from a supportive coworker. Maybe someone higher up in the company puts in a good word for you.
Or a project that has been completely stalled suddenly gets approved.
Exactly. It is a day of forward momentum and feeling like luck is actually on your side for once.
But the truly fascinating part of the career forecast is on May 14th. We teased this at the very beginning of the show.
Yes, the benefic enclosure.
The astro charts show this benefic enclosure happening in the sky. Let's break down the mechanics of this because it sounds incredibly powerful. What physically creates a benefic enclosure?
In traditional astrology, there are two planets known as the benefics, the bringers of good things.
Okay, who are they?
Venus is the lesser benefic, bringing daily pleasures and harmony. And Jupiter is the greater benefic, bringing massive luck and wealth.
So both of the lucky planets.
Right. An enclosure happens when a specific planet or a specific zone of the sky is trapped directly between Venus and Jupiter.
Trapped between the two luckiest planets. That doesn't sound like a bad place to be.
Not at all. Imagine you are walking down the street and you have a massive armored bodyguard on your left and another massive armored bodyguard on your right.
Nothing bad can get to you.
Exactly. On May 14th, this enclosure acts as a strong protective shield over your career reputation.
Okay, I have to push back on this a little bit. If you are entirely shielded, doesn't that also mean you are cut off?
What do you mean?
Like, if you are trapped in a fortress, sure, the arrows can't hit you, but you also might miss out on important communication from the outside. Does a Virgo risk being totally out of the loop on May 14th?
That is a very sharp observation. Yes, an enclosure separates you. But for a Virgo this week, you actually want to be separated.
Really? Why?
Because the things bouncing off the shield are not important updates. They are petty office drama, toxic gossip, people fighting over credit for a project, and just the general bad moods of upper management.
Oh, so you are insulated from the nonsense.
Completely. You might miss the water cooler gossip, but you will also avoid the crossfire that takes down your coworkers.
So you are basically in a protective bubble, free to just do your work in peace.
Yes, and you are going to need that clear path because the pace at work is about to explode on May 17th.
The notes say both the moon and Mercury entered Gemini on that day.
We talked about how Gemini is fast, air energy, and how it makes your mind buzz.
Right, the butterfly energy.
Yes. But in a Virgo's chart, Gemini rules the specific zone of career, public reputation, and authority.
Oh, wow. So all that fast energy is focused on their job.
Exactly. When both your ruling planet, Mercury, and the emotional moon moving to this career zone on the same day, you are suddenly thrust right into the spotlight.
What does that actually look like on a Tuesday afternoon in the office?
It looks like you being the smartest person in the room, hands down. Your mind will process information incredibly fast.
So they will be catching things everyone else misses.
Yes. You are going to look at a spreadsheet or a project plan and spot the problem before anyone else even realizes there is an issue.
That is a great feeling.
You will be juggling multiple tasks, answering emails, directing a meeting, and solving problems perfectly. Your boss will be deeply impressed by how brilliant and adaptable you are.
Wait. I know Virgos. They are perfectionists. They like to do one thing perfectly before moving to the next.
That is their usual style, yes.
If the Gemini energy is forcing them to juggle 10 things at lightning speed, isn't there a massive risk that they drop the ball? If they're moving too fast, won't they make a critical mistake?
That is the exact trap of Gemini energy. It wants you to move faster than your feet can carry you.
So how do they avoid crashing?
Remember, Virgo is an earth sign. Your superpower is building solid systems. The advice for May 17 is this. Do not try to invent a new way of working today.
So no experimenting.
None. Do not adopt a new software or a new filing system, relying entirely on the careful, meticulous systems you have already built.
Ah, lean on the foundation.
Yes. If you trust your existing structure, your mind can safely fly at top speed without dropping anything.
Trust the systems you already built. That is highly practical. Now, let's talk about building wealth. A big part of this episode is giving our listener a roadmap for their money this week.
Money is a huge focus right now.
And to do that, you suggest tracing the path of the moon.
Yes, the moon moves through different zones of your chart, triggering completely different financial mindsets.
Okay, let's start on May 13th.
The moon is in Aries, the fire sign. In your chart, this highlights the zone of debts, taxes, and shared resources.
And fire energy wants action right now, right?
Precisely. So on May 13th, you will feel a sudden urge to tackle your debt head on.
You might sit down and finally pay off that credit card balance.
Or organize your tax receipts, or cut a check for a loan you owe. You just want the slate wiped clean immediately.
Aries hates having things hanging over its head, so they take aggressive action on debt. Then what happens?
By May 15, the moon moves out of fiery Aries and into grounded, steady Taurus.
That sounds like a total shift in your financial psychology.
It really is. After the sudden rush to pay off debts, you will settle into a much more relaxed, sensible mindset. You move from panic to planning.
So you stop looking at the past debt and start looking forward.
Yes. You start thinking about long-term value and how to slowly build wealth over time.
And that leads perfectly into the new moon on May 16th, which is also in Taurus. We talked about planting seeds on a new moon earlier. How does that apply to money?
Because this new moon happens in the area of your chart connected to higher learning and growth, the most profitable seed you can plant on May 16th is investing in your own mind.
So this is not the day to buy a lottery ticket or invest in a risky stock.
Definitely not. This is the day to spend money on education. Buy a course, hire a mentor, or pay for a certification.
So you're basically upgrading yourself.
Exactly. The charts show that money spent on upgrading your skills now will directly and significantly increase your earning power in the future.
Okay, but we cannot ignore that May 16th is also the day Mars and Chiron clash. We talked about how that brings up painful emotional scars in relationships. Does it drag up old wounds with money too?
Yes, it absolutely does. Money is deeply emotional for all of us.
So how does that Mars-Chiron clash manifest financially?
That clash might suddenly trigger severe stress over a past financial mistake. You might look at your bank account and suddenly feel this wave of guilt over a bad investment you made years ago.
Or a period where you racked up a bunch of credit card debt.
Yes. You will feel angry at yourself. You will feel that old shame.
How do they handle that guilt? They can't do physical therapy on a bank account.
True. The psychological mechanism here is forgiveness. The mistake is in the past.
But it is hard to just let it go.
It is, but if you carry the shame of a past money mistake, it acts like a heavyweight that prevents you from taking smart risks in the future.
Right, it holds you back.
The message from the transits is clear. You have to look at the mistake, acknowledge that you learned the lesson, and genuinely forgive yourself.
Because you cannot plant a healthy seed for the future if your hands are full of past guilt.
That is beautifully said.
Drop the guilt so you can move forward. And if they do that, May 17 brings a major payoff. The notes say Mercury in Gemini brings a clever new plan for daily income.
Exactly. When your mind speeds up on May 17 and you have cleared out that financial guilt, you are going to have a light bulb moment.
Gemini is the sign of commerce, right? Buying and selling.
Yes, and clever ideas. You might suddenly spot a totally new way to bring in extra cash.
Like a side gig.
Maybe a side gig, or a new way to budget, or a small service you can offer your company for a bonus. Your mind is so sharp, so when you get a weird or unconventional idea about making money on this day, write it down immediately.
Do not let it fly away. That is a phenomenal wealth forecast. But we have to address reality here.
What's that?
Processing complex work tasks, managing emotional baggage, and operating at lightning speed takes a massive physical toll on the human body.
Oh, without a doubt.
Which brings us to keeping the engine running, protecting your health and wellness this week.
The mind and the body are not separate, and honestly, no sign knows that better than Virgo.
Because Virgo actually rules health.
Yes, your sign actually rules the digestive system and the daily health routine. Your physical wellness is the foundation for absolutely everything else we have discussed.
If the body crashes, the career and the relationship crash right along with it.
Exactly. So we have to pay attention to physical limits.
Let's start with the physical highs. May 11, the Sun connects with Jupiter. We know this brings a desire to learn, but how does it impact the physical body?
Jupiter expands vitality. When it connects with the Sun, which is your core life force, it gives you a wonderful, healthy physical glow.
You just feel good.
You will feel naturally vibrant, your energy levels will be high, and you will feel strong. You will really want to move your body and get outside.
And on May 14th, when the Sun and Mercury have that cazimi, when they are perfectly aligned in the magnifying glass, how should a Virgo use that physical energy?
Well, your mind is incredibly clear and focused on May 14th. This is the absolute best day of the week to analyze your current health habits.
So not necessarily running a marathon, but planning.
Right. Use that sharp mental focus to research healthy recipes, meal prep for the rest of the month, or design a brand new workout routine. It is a day for planning the health logistics.
Planning the routine is very comfortable for a Virgo. They excel at that. But then the warning signs start flashing red. We have to talk about May 16 again.
The Mars and Chiron clash.
Yes. We know it brings up emotional pain.
Yeah.
But what is the physical danger here?
I am looking at the astrological charts, and I have to deliver a very strong warning. Do not push your physical limits on May 16th.
Why? What is the risk?
Mars rules sharp instruments, heat, inflammation, and aggressive physical exertion. Chiron is a literal wound.
Right, the poisoned arrow.
When they collide in Aries, a sign known for head-first, impulsive action, the risk of physical injury absolutely skyrockets.
Oh, wow. So what does that mean practically? Should they just stay in bed all day?
You don't have to stay in bed, but you must leave your ego at the door of the gym. If you are lifting weights, do not try to hit a personal best today.
Just take it easy.
If you are running, Do not try to shave a minute off your mile. If you feel a slight twinge in your knee or your back, stop immediately.
So this is absolutely not the day to adopt the no pain, no gain mentality.
Absolutely not. If you try to push through the pain on May 16, you are highly likely to tear a muscle, cause severe inflammation, or just create an injury that takes months to heal.
So what should they do instead?
The charts prescribe gentle healing for this day. Your body is asking for recovery. Get a massage, do some light stretching on the living room floor, or take a long, warm bath with Epsom salts.
Treat your body like it is recovering from a marathon, even if you didn't run one.
Exactly. Give it that level of care.
Because they are going to need that physical battery fully charged for the next day. May 17th, when the moon enters Gemini.
The buzzing energy.
We talked about how this makes the mind buzz with career ideas, but what does it do to the nervous system?
Gemini is an air sign. It is electric, mental, and extremely fast. When the moon, which is your inner state, and Mercury, your mind, are both in Gemini, your central nervous system is going to feel like it is plugged straight into a wall socket.
You will feel literally wired.
Yes.
I compare this to a smartphone. You know when you have 20 different apps running in the background?
Your phone starts lagging.
Right. Even if the screen is off and you aren't actively using the phone, the processor is working so incredibly hard that the battery just drains in a few hours, and the phone itself gets really hot to the touch. That is what a Virgo's brain is doing on May 17th.
That is the perfect explanation of the physical sensation. Your background apps are draining your physical battery.
So how do they manage that?
The direct advice from the charts is this. You must avoid caffeine late in the day.
Oh, that makes sense.
Your body is already completely overstimulated by the planetary energy. If you add a cup of coffee at 3 p.m., you are going to experience severe anxiety, jitters, and you will absolutely not be able to sleep that night.
Okay, putting down the coffee cup is the first step. But if their mind is still racing a mile a minute at 10 p.m., what is a practical way they can shut down those background apps and actually calm their nervous system before bed?
The psychological concept we need here is grounding. Since Virgo is an earth sign, you have to use the element of earth to calm the chaotic air energy of Gemini.
So bring it back down to earth.
Yes. To shut down the mental apps, you have to force your awareness back into your physical body.
How do they actually do that?
If you can, step outside and put your bare feet directly on the grass or the dirt for just 5 minutes. The physical temperature and texture of the earth draw the electric energy out of your head and down into your body.
What if they are inside an apartment and can't do that?
If you can't get outside, use a sensory countdown. Look around the room and say out loud 5 things you can see.
Okay, 5 things you can see.
Then touch 4 different textures: a blanket, the wall, your own arm. Listen for 3 distinct sounds. Smell 2 things. Taste 1 thing.
Oh, I've heard of that. It forces you to focus.
It forces your brain to stop processing the future and lock entirely into the present physical reality. It cools the processor down and lets you finally sleep.
The sensory countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is incredibly practical.
It works wonders.
So we have covered how to protect your mind and your body. But as we know, navigating career highs and emotional healing does not happen in a vacuum.
No, you are surrounded by other people all day long.
And the astrological charts show exactly who is going to support your journey this week and who is going to act like a giant roadblock. Let's look at your cosmic companions.
The people you surround yourself with this week matter immensely because your energy is moving so fast.
You just cannot afford to carry someone else's chaos right now.
You really can't. You need people who can keep up with your growth and offer stability.
Let's start with the best news. Your absolute best match this week is Capricorn. Tell me why.
Capricorn is another earth sign. In astrology, signs of the same element naturally understand each other without having to explain themselves.
They just speak the same language.
Right, but Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, meaning they are initiators, they are builders, and they are focused on long-term structures.
And Virgo is a mutable earth sign.
Yes, meaning you are adaptable, detail-oriented, and focused on perfecting the process. So together, you are an unstoppable machine.
Let's look at the timeline of how Capricorn actually supports Virgo this week, starting on May 11th, when the Sun and Jupiter meet.
On May 11th, that massive luck energy hits both of you. You and Capricorn will have wonderful fortune with any shared practical plans.
So like budgeting or business planning.
Exactly. If you share a bank account or if you are business partners reviewing a budget, this is the day your plans align perfectly for maximum profit.
And on May 13th, when the Aries moon makes Virgo totally restless to solve mysteries.
While everyone else might be super annoyed by your sudden, intense focus, Capricorn completely gets it.
They don't mind the obsession.
Not at all. Mercury helps the two of you communicate clearly to solve very tricky work problems. You won't have to explain your thought process twice. Capricorn will look at your data and say, I see exactly what you're doing. Let's execute.
And on May 14th, during that powerful Cazimi communication day,
Because of that shared earth energy, when you drop the script and speak from your body, Capricorn meets you with deep, profound respect.
because they appreciate honesty.
Yes, they don't want fluff. They want reality. When you give them reality, they make you feel incredibly valued.
Moving into May 15 and 16, when the new moon happens.
This is the absolute peak of your partnership because the new moon is in Taurus, the third earth sign. The energy is incredibly peaceful and productive for both of you.
So they are all vibrating on the same earth frequency.
Right. May 16 is the absolute best day for you and a Capricorn to start a brand new long-term project together. You share the exact same goals and you appreciate the same steady, methodical pace.
And finally, May 17, when Virgo is totally wired and stressed out by that Gemini energy.
Capricorn act as the ultimate grounding force. They offer gentle healing to your daily stress.
How so?
While your mind is flying in 100 directions, Capricorn is the one who quietly takes a task off your desk or reminds you to eat lunch.
I see Capricorn as a sturdy anchor on a ship. When the sea gets rough and the wind is blowing, that anchor sinks deep into the earth. It doesn't necessarily stop the storm, but it keeps the boat exactly where it needs to be so you don't crash into the rocks.
That is the perfect visualization of cardinal earth energy. They really hold the line.
But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have the worst match. The charts warn that Sagittarius is going to drive the listener completely crazy this week.
Oh, Sagittarius is going to be a real challenge. They are a mutable fire sign. They are ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion and going big.
So they don't do details.
They naturally operate on a very broad philosophical level, and they notoriously hate details, rules, and restrictions.
Which is basically everything a Virgo loves.
Exactly. And this week, the friction between your need for careful order and their chaotic fire is going to be incredibly frustrating.
When does it start?
Starting on May 11th, when you are trying to focus on practical learning, the charts show Sagittarius acting loud, careless, and completely blind to the details you care so much about.
And on May 13th, when the Aries fire energy hits the moon.
Sagittarius is going to take that fire energy and run totally wild with it. They will be rushing around, literally or figuratively knocking things over and breaking systems.
While Virgo is desperately running behind them trying to fix it all.
Right. You are trying to keep your space neat and orderly, and they will feel like a tornado blowing right through your living room.
What about May 14? Can Virgo at least use that clear Cazini communication to talk some sense into them?
You can certainly try. You might sit them down for a serious, sensible talk about boundaries or rules.
Will they listen?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Sagittarius is prone to toxic positivity. They will likely just laugh off your concerns, tell you you are worrying way too much, and completely change the subject.
That is so annoying.
They will refuse to get heavy or serious, which will make you feel incredibly dismissed and unheard.
That is infuriating. And then we hit the danger zone. May 16, the Mars and Chiron clash.
Yes, this is where the real damage can happen. On May 16th, you are trying to plant seeds for the future and build a steady routine.
And what is Sagittarius doing?
Sagittarius wants to throw all your careful plans right out the window just to see what happens. Even worse, because Mars brings heat to the wound, Sagittarius might actually hurt your feelings deeply.
On purpose.
Not necessarily on purpose, but they are known for their brutal honesty. And on this day, they speak entirely without thinking. They might drop a blunt, rude opinion about your life that strikes right at your deepest insecurities.
Ouch. And by May 17?
By May 17, they are totally scattered. If you need them to do a job, they will completely forget. They are completely unreliable.
So if Capricorn is the anchor, Sagittarius is a loose cannon rolling around the deck of the ship, smashing into the mast and just causing total chaos.
That is exactly what it feels like.
But I have to ask a serious practical question here. What if the listener's boss or their spouse or their own child is a Sagittarius?
You can't just delete them from your life.
Exactly. How does a Virgo survive this week without losing their temper entirely?
You survive by radically adjusting your expectations and setting extremely firm boundaries. If you are forced to interact with Sagittarius, employ emotional distance.
Give them a wide berth.
Do not assign them tasks that require fine details this week. Give them the big picture jobs where their chaotic energy won't break anything fragile.
And how do they handle the bluntness on May 16th?
On May 16th, you give them massive physical space. If they start getting loud or opinionated, simply walk out of the room.
Don't even engage.
Do not take their careless words to heart. You have to recognize that their astrological energy is highly volatile right now. Their rude comment is a reflection of their own chaotic state, not a true reflection of your worth.
Protect your peace by actively refusing to engage in their storm.
Exactly. Protect your peace.
Let them spin out on their own, but don't let them drag you into the tornado. I think that is vital advice. Let's do a quick review of the toolkit for the week to make sure our Virgo listener has absolutely everything locked in.
The overall strategy is simple. Pace yourself. Focus your most intense, important actions on your best dates.
Which are May 13 for solving mysteries, May 14 for clear communication, and May 16 for planting long-term seeds.
Yes, those are the days the planetary geometry is fully backing your success.
Also keep an eye out for your lucky numbers this week. 4, 13, 22, 31, 40, and 49.
And don't forget the visual grounding.
Right. When you are getting dressed for that big meeting on May 14 where your reputation is shielded, or if you just need to feel grounded while dealing with a chaotic Sagittarius, lean into the color navy.
Navy is the perfect energetic anchor for you this week. It represents deep waters, serious focus, and authority. It matches the profound, long-term shifts happening in your psychological world.
So we have explored the massive, mind-expanding energy of Jupiter, the physical therapy of your emotional wounds with Mars and Chiron, the protective fortress built around your career, the absolute necessity of grounding your nervous system, and exactly who to trust to keep your boat steady.
We really covered it all. It is a highly complex, fast-moving, but ultimately incredibly rewarding week for you, Virgo.
It is a week of breaking old molds.
The astrological charts show a beautiful path forward, provided you don't let the speed of the transits pull you out of your natural grounded center. Trust your systems, do the emotional work, and let your mind expand.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you navigate these next few days. Since you are expanding your mind so much, looking over the fence and taking in all this new knowledge this week, what is one old, outdated belief about your own capabilities that you are finally ready to leave behind forever?
That is a great question to reflect on.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us and listening to this episode on Horoscope TV. We love analyzing the charts for you. Be sure to subscribe so you can get notified the very moment the next episode is available. Stay grounded and have a fantastic week.